I am Ryan Rodenbeck, and I am here today with Clint LaCour, one of the owners of Rêve Realtors in New Orleans. How are you doing, Clint?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Well, I think I want to start off by saying how we met. And I was at an Inman conference about, I don't know, was that 2 years ago, I think? And yeah, and so I'm originally from Louisiana, and there was a giveaway at the conference for something, so maybe a Molly Bloom book, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a notification that the Clint LaCour was the winner of that, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a Louisiana name, and then we were at the REW summit within that conference, and you asked, I think you asked a question about follow-up loss or something like that. And then we got to talking, and then after that, I think you and I had I realized we had a lot more in common than I thought. You had, at the time, you had just started Rêve about 6 months before, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we were brand new.
yeah, and I don't forget what we started talking about, maybe because I was interested in buying a short-term rental there, but we talked a lot about what was going on, in the industry and what we're doing, and had a couple talks. And then then you set me up on a search, and we talked a little bit about vacation rentals. And then when I went to New Orleans 2 weekends ago, I saw your sign. I remember you telling me that you had, I think, like 40 or 50 agents come over with you, something like that. And then I saw your sign, the Rêve sign everywhere. So I want to take you back to tell me about how you started in real estate.
Let's see. I started in real estate about 21 years old. I started Baton Rouge, actually, right after Hurricane Katrina. Started studying for my license. That hit, then it just kind of accelerated. I focused on that, got my license, sold in Baton Rouge for about 3 or 4 years. And I always went to New Orleans on the weekends, just was used to hanging out there. So I eventually moved there around 2008, stayed with Keller Williams. We had the #1 office in the Gulf States. It was the #1 office in the area, the region, for I think 5 years running. I was there for about 8 years. The owner of the company, they had 6 owners, I think. And then one of them owned about 51%, decided that he wanted his son to take over. He ended up firing about 3 of the founding agents who had ownership, and the broker. At that point, about 80 agents left and went to another Keller Williams office in town in Metairie, which is very like a small, another city right next to New Orleans.
That was a big shakeup then, huh?
Do I?
That was a pretty big shakeup.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild.
Why did you do that?
I think they had too much pushback, and I think nepotism kind of clouds your judgment a bit.
Yeah, right.
So I'm sure they're regretting it at this point.
So wait, let me ask you first. So were you like a team leader at that point?
I was a single agent. Me and my business partner Joey were 2 top agents in the office. We had about 200, a little over 200 agents. I think probably like 230 agents or so. Okay. Yeah, and I just had a full-time assistant. That was it. But we were selling about around 20 million or so a year.
Yeah. So when all that happened, you and you have 2 partners, is that right?
3.
3.
Ryan is actually at Keller Williams as well. He was also a top agent. I don't know where he just wasn't working in the office, I believe. So it was just.
Who was the lady I met there?
Tracy Moore. She had Worthmore Realty. She was just a good friend. She had a small brokerage, and we told her about what we were thinking about doing, and she was on board. So what happened was all those people left. We started looking at alternatives. I stayed at Keller Williams, New Orleans to, um, you know, I didn't want to pull up my business. I had a lot of like online advertising. Didn't feel like changing all that just because of what happened. I was completely against it, but I just didn't want to,
You want the shake.
end my business because of it. Um, I started shopping brokerages, and we noticed that we couldn't find another brokerage that offered what we wanted or what we needed. I feel like there's a lot of brokerages out there that just don't understand what an agent wants
Yeah.
in a modern day.
So tell me about that. What was it? What was it that you wanted and needed?
So what a brokerage in a modern day would need is just really people who understand what you have to do to build systems and create a streamlined company. Everyone has access to the same technology. It's just how you use it is
Yeah.
What matters. You can anybody can sign up for Loop or DocuSign or whatever. It's how you build it out and how you like tailor it to your business and your company.
So like
Nobody knows how to do that.
of the systems together, right? Because a lot of people just kind of throw that stuff together and like, oh, here's the stuff, right?
Right, here it is, but I'm not going to build it out. So your agents are pulling in documents and then trying to like add text fields and signature lines and all that, and that's a time suck, and it's just not something that agents should be doing. That was one thing. Caring about design and branding was important to us. And then I would say just finding a culture that we had at that Keller Williams office was what we were looking for as well, and we just couldn't find it. So we decided, you know what? Why don't we sit down? We get the four of us. We decided that this would be a good partnership. We did a personality test, and it seemed to match.
Yeah.
So we planned it out for about a year, and we just said, what does an agent need in today's real estate atmosphere, and went from there.
And we talk about that a lot too. And I always make the statement of like, there's technology, but there's also everyone has technology, but more technology, it's automation, it's systems, right? I mean, agents don't want to go in there and reinvent the wheel. They want to have a roadmap. They just want to go sell, right? So they want a roadmap of like, okay, I do this and I do this, right? I submit the file. They want to know how best practices of doing it rather than just be thrown in. So who came up with the name Rev?
Tracy.
Okay, and where did that come from?
So we didn't realize how hard it was to find a name. We at any name we came up with, someone else had it already. Even Rev, I think there's like a Rev contractor nearby. But we were just on our way to California to attend a negotiations class. And she was just looking up French words and Spanish words and anything that she can come up with. And she said, what about Rev? It means dream. I was like, okay, well, let me think about it. And we just started thinking about it. I kept playing around with it in my mind, like how you would say it. It did concern us that people wouldn't know how to pronounce it, but our branding consultant was saying, it's actually not a bad thing. You shouldn't get to teach people how to say it, and then it sticks harder. Yeah. So we went with it.
Yeah, no, I love it. And we went to your office, and my wife took one of your cards. Was like, we want these cards, like that. She's never been quite happy with our cards, but having a design brand, minded thought process is really important to us. We started Spyglass Realty, same thing. My wife and I were like, all right, go to GoDaddy, Spyglass Realty, whatever realty it was.com, taken. Then you go to Secretary of State. They have to both match, right? And what's interesting is here in Austin, there's a street called Spyglass Drive. We were watching a movie, and Spyglass Entertainment came on, and at the time we had lived on Spyglass Drive, so we go to both of them. They're good. GoDaddy's good. Secretary of State's good. And I've told this story a million times, but literally the first week I give out my card, a guy goes, "Oh, I've heard of you," and I was like, "Yes."
Awesome.
So I want to talk a little bit. I've got some notes here, but For a second here. What's going on in the New Orleans market right now?
It's pretty high. I don't think we're as hot as y'all are.
Yeah.
Our appreciation is about 10% or so. If you price something, right below market, I've been getting like 10 offers, but um, and they'd go, maybe 20, 30,000 over.
Wow.
But I just wrote an offer on a house yesterday for full asking, and I got it. So it just depends where you place it in the market.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's busy and low inventory still.
Yeah, for us in December, it went into hyperdrive. I think April's numbers were, 32% appreciation year over year, which is crazy. We were getting, 100,000 over. And I don't know if you're seeing this, but right now, over the last 3 weeks, I guess as summer started, people coming, going on vacation, we're seeing a little bit of a lull. Are you guys seeing that too?
Yeah, I think that's seasonal
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. We needed it big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Buyers just don't want to move right now, and then they want to get to the beach.
Yeah. Right. And
Okay.
yeah, I would New Orleans one weekend, Port A the next. So,
Right.
what's the status of vacation rentals there?
They're back.
They're
Like
back.
they're pre-Katrina, pre-Katrina,
Okay.
pre-COVID.
Right. No, no, no. Got you. Well, sorry. No, let me rephrase that. What's the status of the city with the city on vacation rentals?
Oh, they're enforcing the rules now.
Because
Uh,
when I started looking, they had changed the rules, right?
right. So you have to have primary. It has to be your primary residence for you to rent out the whole house for I think up to 90 days. Then you can rent out, more than that, but you're supposed to be on premises. Um, now I work with a big short-term rental operator in town, and they're like selling all their residentially zoned properties right now, slowly, but they're doing it, and then focusing on more commercially zoned properties.
So in Austin, we have the same thing, except the buildings. If you have a building that's condo, the city allows it, but most of the condo associations don't allow it. But I noticed in New Orleans, is it a CBD? There's several buildings that are designed to allow that. Is that right?
N- Not necessarily. They're zone commercial, but just like you were saying, the condo buildings have rules against it. There's a handful that allow you to purchase a condo and then short term it, but no, for the most part, we don't really have that hotel hybrid um, model. There is a building that's been trying to get off the ground, but they just haven't broken ground yet.
Yeah.
That has that hybrid type where you buy a condo, they have a management staff on the site and manage it for you. You just let them know when you want to use it, but it just hasn't taken off.
We put an offer. Well, we're in contract on one here in Austin. It's a 45 story building that allows that, and it's going to be
Yeah.
pretty cool. So okay, getting back to the brokerage. So you guys, and then here's another story that I think was pretty crazy. Is that I go to have drinks at, I think it was the Peacock in
Yeah.
New Orleans, and I'm sitting down, and the girl that's sitting at the next door table to me goes, "Hey, I know you. You're Ryan Rodenbach. Like, are we Facebook friends? It's interesting. It's one of your eight. It's like Casey."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh yeah, we knew from a mutual friend from Alexandria." And we just started talking. She said, "Are you still in real estate?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm at Rev." I was like, "That's crazy."
It's
And
a
so
small town.
no, yeah, really small world. And she said, "So how many agents do you guys have now?"
We're at 106. Yeah.
106. And when you started the company, how many did you bring over initially?
Let's see. I want to say I was the first person to transfer my license. Like Tracy, she was the broker for the company, so she transferred. The the big mix up was like transferring from Keller Williams since we were there for so long. Uh, Whenever I transferred, I think about four other agents came with me as my assistant, and then four other agents. And then after that, we started slowly pulling in probably like another four from the other office um, in town, and once we got more space, we just started picking them off.
Yeah.
Told them we're gonna bring back our old office and bring the culture back and bring our family back, and it's worked ever since.
Yeah, and that's been amazing for me as well because we have almost 60 agents, but we've got little pockets of agents that were with companies that are no longer in existence.
Yeah,
And when a couple of them come over, they want to put the band back together, you
yeah.
know. And so is recruitment a a heavy part of what you guys do?
We're we've been recruiting ourselves. We've been taking that on. We also sell too. So one of the things that we had at Keller Williams was a non-competing broker, and that was very important to the agents, which was more important than I realized, because I don't I understand it, but then again, not that important to me. But once we got that, they're feel more comfortable with discussing issues, and
Yeah.
just feel like they have more support. So we hired Michelle just over 6 months ago. She's
Mhm.
our in-house broker manager. She's taking on the recruiting right now.
Yeah.
Um, but I think we supplement it. We touch base with the agents that she calls, and sometimes I cold call agents that I know
Yeah.
who I feel like would be a good fit.
Yeah. And so do you guys take on new agents?
We so Michelle has a corporate training background, so she's excited about new agents. So we have been more open to it. We're developing our new agent training right now with a coach, and we also just finalized a mentorship program for new agents that seems to be working out really well. Um, I think our biggest issue with that right now is whenever a new agent isn't happy with their mentor, it's like switching them over to another mentor.
Yeah.
But they seem to be enjoying it
Yeah.
a lot. So
We're not very successful with it, and we haven't done a whole lot of it. But like what I'm really good at is agents that have been in the business 1 to 3 years and they managed to sell a million or two. Like we can take them to the moon, right? But it's we now have a full time sales manager, so we might consider doing a little bit more of that, but I don't have the patience for it. So I don't have the attention to detail at all. So uh,
training is not my strong suit, that's for sure. Uh,
yeah,
Michelle's great at it. The Yeah, we went and like cherry picked the agents that we thought would be good for mentors. We don't open it up to the office. It is select few agents who we allow to do that.
yeah. And so you guys don't really have what I noticed over there is you don't really have the quote disruptors. You don't have Compass. I haven't seen EXP. None of those guys, right?
No, we don't have. We have EXP. They're just very small.
Yeah.
Um, they don't really have the best reputation in our market. They've really trying really hard to recruit us
Mhm.
for a while, and I just they don't really appeal to me.
Me
Uh,
neither. And they don't have the best reputation. And let me just be real clear on that. Okay. When I say that, I'm not picking on EXP. I'm in a group with the Sheplac, and some of the most baller and agents in that group are EXP, right? I mean, they're big teams that do a lot of business, a lot of respect for them. We just don't have that here in our market, right? And the appeal, I think New Orleans is a lot like Austin is like we go to local restaurants. It's very boutiquey.
yes.
Um, Although Compass has made a big dent here. I mean, they got like I think 400 agents. I don't know if they're going to keep those agents though, right? And then we have EXP, but not a lot of heavy producing agents is and like I think that's kind of what you're saying. Whereas in a lot of these other markets, the franchises do much better.
Yeah.
So when you look at an agent that's trying to determine indie versus franchise, what's the advice you'd have for them?
From a recruiting standpoint, yeah.
No, well, I guess from an agent that's thinking about joining, and let's say you're giving advice to a friend that lives in California, and they're looking at like a Spyglass Realty over there versus like Keller Williams or even Compass?
Uh, I would I would just take a long, hard look at any office, whether it be a franchise or um, indie, just at the people and their systems. I mean, and also stats. I mean, I'm really big into stats. We had a $15 million producer that came over, and she wasn't sure if the indie brand was for her, if she would get more out of a national brand. And I was like, we have triple the amount of top producers of any other franchise in town. So you're just, that's a very easy objection to overcome. But just looking at their systems, I would ask them, how does this work? How do you close out your checks? How do you deal with leads? How do you, like, what system do you have? Did y'all design drip campaigns that I can just like jump into, or what do you provide? CRM, transaction management,
Yeah.
uh, cloud CMA.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
Well, I love that answer, especially the first part of it. Look at the stats. Because like when I'm going and I'm having an interview with an agent, that's the first thing I look at. One of the first things I show them is like not just the stats, right? I mean, look, the market's appreciated 30 to 40% in the last year.
Yeah.
So obviously the stats are going to be higher. But if you look at the agents that are doing double and triple what they did last year, right? The agents that I've got like 5 agents that were in the business for like 1 year last year, and they're one of them's almost at 9 million contracted and closed for the year, right? So that's really something you really need to look at, is the success of the group. So I love that answer. And then you and I are very aligned on systems. And I mean, I when I got back, I was looking at Moxie forever, and got it was interesting. I get back and I did the meeting with Cloud CMA, and it was amazing, right? And we did the meeting with Moxie the day later, and I was like, there's nothing missing.
Oh,
You know?
really? Oh,
No, there was nothing missing from Cloud CMA to Moxie. So having all these, as independent brokers, that we have these technologies that we want them to try to talk to each other as much as possible, and for it to be easy and easy for agents to use. One thing I noticed is like when I go into your office, do you purchased all those apples?
yeah. We
Are
just
those
we just
signed, or can
we're
anyone
cycling
use?
them out right now, actually. But what about it?
Are those assigned, or can anyone use them?
Anybody can use them.
Wow.
Uh,
So if you're listening to this and you're on my team, don't get any ideas. We've got monitors, and I've got HDMI cords for you to plug into.
No, so all of the TVs are AirPlay capable. We have, maybe out of all of our agents, we probably have 3 that use Windows computers. But the new Samsungs are compatible with Windows or Apple, and so they can easily cast
Yeah.
them without any additional hardware, which is nice. But one of our value propositions was that we cycle out our technology every 2 years to keep up with it. Because as an agent, I just remember going to the office. I want to print something real quick. I need to hurry up and jump on a computer, and it was always like slow as hell. Like, you move the mouse, and it takes like literally 2 minutes to like boot up and get going, and it was just like pulling teeth to get the office to upgrade.
Yeah.
So that was one of our value propositions.
So what's your focus going to be over the next 12 months?
We actually have a meeting to talk about that very soon. Right now, our main focus is getting more space.
Mhm.
Which is difficult because we're pretty specific about the areas we want to be in,
Yeah.
and we need, I think we need a pretty decent sized office. I would say like 5,000 square feet. So we're just focusing on more space right now. And then we have growth plans regionally and locally.
Gotcha.
It's a lot to take in.
No. Are you guys working on any type of like leadership system, like EOS or anything like that?
Mm, no.
No. Well, You sound like you have it together. We're loosely following the EOS model, and we're probably going to get an implementer in. But um, one of the things we've done over the last few months is just my leadership team, which is Kelly, Sonny, and Johnny. We meet every week for like 30 minutes on a Zoom and be like, okay, what do we need to do this week? But I mean, I've been really impressed with what you guys have done. And when I went to New Orleans 2 weeks ago, it was like, just driving around, I was on one of those horse carriage tours and saw
Oh, yeah,
signs, um, love your design and thank you for coming on. And I really respect what you do. And so, we're going to be going now that the pandemic's over. It's an hour flight from Austin, New Orleans. Would love to collaborate more with you. And, if you come to
cool.
Austin, do the same.
Great. Thanks,
So,
Ryan.
so where can people find you if they're looking for you online?
On Instagram, LaCour Homes, uh, online, revrealtors.com.
And does Rev have an Instagram too?
It's Rêve Realtors
Awesome.
on Instagram. Yeah, we have a great
Awesome.
Instagram.
Now, and thank you so much for being here, and hope to see you soon.
Great. Thanks, Ryan.